Y gang family, Y gang family. I did this video from the bottom of my heart. This video is not to entertain anyone. This video is not to, just spark that cheap dopamine within you and then you're just back to shitty activities. Nah. It's not none of those videos. Scrolling 24/7. Scrolling 24/7. It's not one of those. This video is true, authentic information. This video kinda took me time to make, but there's no perfect time. I thought this is the time, let me make it now. Let me shoot this video now, regardless. I don't care what equipment I have. I don't care what best tool I have. I don't care what, script, perfect locations. I do not care. I just wanna spread what I have within me. I wanna open my chest up and let the Y Gang family know that it's time to lock in. It's time to go hard on your goals. Best believe it, your goals will not look like a Disney scene. They won't look like Hollywood movies, perfect and all glamorous and shiny. They don't even look like that, my kid. I'm not saying it's gonna be terrible, but remove the perfection mindset within you. Remove that. It's time to make things happen. Regardless of what you have, use what you have to get what you want. That's how the laws of life work. If you wanna get what you want, you must use what you have. Because what you have is not, what you want. That's why you want it, because you don't have it. But for you to have it, you must use what you want, what you have now, to get what you want. So Y Gang, I hope you guys enjoy it. This is a tough one. If you're weak, you better click off. But if you know you're strong, watch till the end. Yo man, Y Gang, you can see on this video, we are about to dive deep. Young men in this generation, it's time to log in. Listen, Y Gang, you've been making plans as a young man. Stop wasting time. How long have you been saying you make plans? How long have you been saying I'll execute this kind of day in my life? But we quickly get distracted with the cheap dopamine activities or with the opposite sex. Listen, what I'm about to say in this video is not to downgrade you or stop you from having fun. But I want you guys to always keep this in mind in every journey you go through. I have to come back to purpose. Y Gang, it's so important to come back to purpose. This is the number one thing you never lack. Young man, please, it's time to log in. I can't be in this journey alone. I need to embark on this journey with a strong group of young men. Us as young men in this generation, it's time to be united. It's time to come together and start working on one goal to achieve our purpose. Y Gang, forget about 1 year resolution, forget about the next year plans. We're not talking about next year plans. We don't care if it's January, we don't care if it's June, we don't care if it's December. We keep putting in the work. Stop being easily distracted, young man. This is the time to shine. This is the time we actually have to put in the work that we deserve. Stop postponing your plans because you want to make people happy. Stop postponing your plans because you want to satisfy other people's emotions. You'll keep postponing until when? When will you start focusing on yourself? When will you start building yourself as a man? Because a man's purpose is to leave an empire, is to build an empire. So listen, whatever activity you're doing today, you must keep this in mind. It will have a huge impact in the long run. Not because of not just you, but the people around you. This is the impact we have as men. You have to understand this. Y Gang, as men, we were brought to this world with thousands of responsibilities already. A small kid who has male organs, they already have 100 responsibilities they didn't even ask for. It's not like the opposite sex. It's not that the female side. The female side, they choose their responsibilities. Their responsibilities is just to take care, love, and just nurture. But as men, everything that's happening around us, it's 100% on our shoulders. It's to a point where we also take females' responsibilities and make their responsibilities ours. Why gang? Being a man is so challenging. Stop wasting your life. I need you to have this information in the long run. Keep this in mind, my gang. Don't lose this kind of information. You must always have it within you. As a man, my gang, it's so challenging. As a man, it's like you already own this world. You have bills to pay, you have things to take care of. Out of nowhere. That's just how being a man is. So young men in this generation keep wasting that treasure. They keep wasting, their lives away. Because let me let you know something. You think you're focusing on the opposite sex, the female. You might look cool on your 20s, as a young man, but in the long run, little do you know, those very same females will start chasing us, the men who have been grinding and focusing on purpose back then, the men who are taking care of themselves, the men who are not playing but focusing on purpose. They will be begging us. They will be going on their knees trying to be in our lives. But you'll be invisible by that time. They won't even pay attention to you because there's nothing you built as a man. We are focusing on them. And the truth is, they don't really care. Because why? You keep slacking off. What are you doing focusing on such habits? Do you think if you have young siblings that are boys, it's either you have a sibling or, your child or your future child, whatever the case may be, do you think you'll ever be proud of such activity? Do you think you'll actually be, a proud uncle, a proud brother, or a proud father if you see one of your boys doing that? Do you think it's encouraging to other, upcoming young men focusing on such habits, focusing on such habits, focusing on such habits? If you won't even approve that, why are you even doing that from the first place? Young man, it's time to log in. Stop wasting your life like that. Young men nowadays, they tend to, think they have all the time in the world. They think that, everything, they just deserve good. I can relax. Everything is just gonna be handed out. That's not a life of a man. That's not a life of a man. A man's life doesn't operate like that. A man has to carry huge responsibilities. So how would you carry huge responsibilities and be a leader? Like how our DNA was programmed, or was set up, we were born to be leaders. So how do you expect you to become a leader if you are weak yourself, if you focus on such habits? I know it might be hard. I know, sometimes we slack off as people in general. But working as a man, you always have to stay back to purpose. As a man, everyone looks up to you. As a man, a lot of people expect a lot from you. That's the culture we grew up with as men. But nowadays, they don't really look up to men like that. Men are disappointments. Men do such and such activities because of how we think and how we operate. This journey can get as hard as possible. It can get so, you know, frustration, a lot of confusion, you know, overthinking, but it's part of the journey. Let me say this to you guys. The concepts I'm talking about in this video can be hard. Some of you guys can take it as like a huge task or a huge project. But at the same time, for not doing anything as a man, for not focusing and growing focusing on your purpose and growing as a man, is also a hard decision to choose. I mean, it is a easy decision, but the consequences are so hard. The outcomes of the results are so hard. Why gang? Where your focus goes, your energy flows. If you start building small habits, focusing on yourself, focusing on purpose, eventually it will become less effort. You'll start to see that it kind of feels like it's in my blood. It's in my veins now. It just runs in my blood. For the fact that you think these kind of habits are hard, focusing on purposes and grinding, cutting all the distractions off. If you still see it as hard, it's because it doesn't properly program in your subconscious mind. Your conscious mind makes decisions, day-to-day basis decisions, arguments, thinking. It's the thinking operation part. But your subconscious part, on the other hand, it focuses more on what the consciousness believes it's true. So if you feel like not focusing on purpose, not elevating in life, not growing yourself as a young man, not investing in valuable skills is not as important, then your subconscious mind will program that as the right thing to do. Then when it comes to doing the actual task, you will see it as hard. But if we're focusing on that type of time in life, purpose as a young man, building yourself up, making sure you look good, making sure you think straight, everything of your sphere is just well built, then your subconscious mind will see that as true. A lot of people make life complicated, especially young men in this generation. They focus on cheap dopamine habits because of why? Their subconscious mind allowed that to happen. Their consciousness believed it as true, then your subconscious mind just, brings it to reality. So once you believe something is true, then it will happen eventually. So if you believe that you're that guy, if you keep believing in yourself that I'm that man who can, make anything happen in my life, I'm that man who provides, who protect, who brings security, I'm just that guy, then your subconscious mind will eventually, come up with ideas. It will eventually mold it as a true reality of your own existence. Then you'll start building habits like a young man, like a proper, well-grown and purposeful man will do. Your consciousness part is the part that, thinks. Then your subconscious mind is the habitual part. So the habits that you do on a day-to-day basis, what determines your subconscious mind. So why gang? As a young man, stop lying to your conscious mind. Stop feeding your subconscious mind wrong ideas. Because if you focus on cheap dopamine habits, nothing will change. A lot of people think that if I'm a young man now in my 20s, my early 20s, or just my mid 20s, I will eventually change on my 30s. Just something will happen magically. It's if you don't change yourself first. I know we just grew up with that mentality of, I'll see what the future has for me. I mean, that works, but if you want to see what the future has for you, it's first determined by the present moment. So there's no change that will happen. It might be a little harsh for some people in their 20s, having this hard mindset of grinding and all that. But let me let you know something. Nothing will change if you don't implement that mindset now. Because the thing is, YA, young men, the stage that we're in now, we are like a seed. We're planting ourselves in a soil now. You're pouring water. You keep pouring water on that seed until it sprouts. Now, it depends what kind of tree it is. And it depends what seed you used from the first place. That's you right now, young man. How you are now, how you think, how you operate, you are still a seed. But as time goes on, you'll eventually grow. Whatever mindset you have, whatever habit you have, you'll grow on that. And once you grow on that, it will become a big tree, which is you'll become a full-grown man with the life you chose to live. So, why gang? Now is the time. Now is the time to stop slacking. This is the precious time we have. You guys don't understand that the grown people who are in their, some of them late 30s or just 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, and so on, they just wish they did something different. I'm not saying you can do everything perfect in your 20s, you won't have any mistakes. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, you can bring change. You can make a difference, a huge difference. I mean, we'll have certain regrets, but why, gang? Rather regret just one or two things in life, knowing that I worked hard on myself. Knowing that even if I tell my kids, my grandkids, just my boys, if I tell them my story, they will eventually be inspired. They will say, oh, Dad. They will start following your steps. So why, gang? If now you do shitty activities, there's a high chance your kids will follow your shitty steps. But if you focus on purposeful activities, your kids will eventually follow that step. I know you want your kids to perform well in life. You want your younger siblings to perform well in life. So if you want that for younger siblings or your future kids, why don't you do that yourself? You must preach what you do so it can be a valid point. Why, gang? Start doing that now. Focus as a young man. As much as you can say no to this content, as much as you can deny whatever I'm saying, but the truth is, society, kids, women in general, just every species on earth, they mostly take men who have built themselves for years, who have a stable foundation, who have a certain, background they've been dealing with. Seriously. Listen again. 9 times out of 10, a man's life is to build their portfolio, on a proper way. Listen again. I know it can be overwhelming. I know some of you guys are in your early 20s, this concept, you just find it hard to comprehend, or you might deny it. But I wanna give you guys one warning. A man who didn't build themselves in the past, they have certain outcomes or results in life whereby society doesn't respect them like that. But if a man has a strong foundation and a certain portfolio that they've been, building over the years, projects, tasks, achievements, jobs, experience, knowledge, men who have accumulated that kind of, wisdom, society tends to take them more seriously. I see that 4K, life to life basis, that a man who has built themselves for years and years, society takes them serious. Society accepts them as, part of, the community. But if you're a man who didn't have purpose, ambitions, who wasn't driven, 9 times out of 10, society won't really respect you. Let me just put a quick, picture on the screen and tell me which you're willing to choose. Would you rather be this man in, 10 years to 20 years time and more from now? Or would you rather be this man from 10 years to 20 years from now? Choose wisely. Listen right here. If you deny this concept of locking in as a young man, focusing on papers, I'm telling you, whatever you do now has consequences, outcomes, and results of, whatever action you implement now. It's like if you focused on smoking, drinking, wasting your life away, 9 times out of 10, you kind of look like ass. Your life won't have direction. All those negative concepts will be upon you because you didn't build anything from the start. But if you're a man who was driven, focusing on upgrading their skills, cutting all the distractions off, focusing on just building themselves up from the get-go, I'm telling you, you'll have the biggest outcome of your life. Why, gang? There are a lot of regrets, choices you can choose that you might regret later on in life. But this choice, it's a hard choice to choose, because there is a lot of responsibilities and burdens that has within it. But you'll never regret focusing on yourself. You'll never ever regret focusing on yourself and healing yourself and seeing the good outcomes of it. Well, gang, let me just make a quick scenario. A person who drinks, smokes, and does all that, waste their life away. Society kind of knows the outcomes or the results of that person. It's the same thing as building yourself up, focusing on yourself, mental capacity, your emotional state, and all the four spheres of life. If they are well built, 9 times out of 10, you'll be the greatest version of yourself. You'll be that man society respects a lot. Your family will look up to you. The empire that follows behind you will be proud of you. Don't you want that? The people who are following you behind, you know, they are following good steps. You have an empire coming at the back of you, even if you don't see it now, but you are planting a seed as life goes on. Everyone you see outside in the streets, doesn't matter, a man or woman, they are planting a certain seed. Whatever you do now has a huge impact on the next generation and other upcoming generations, in the long run. So again, do not ever second doubt the concept. Do not ever, doubt yourself, make second doubts, trying to question. There's no questioning here. We go all in, 100% right there. There's no maybe if, no. We focused on this one path, self-growth and self-elevation right there. It's time to elevate. It's time to cut off all the distractions off. It's time to log in. You've been playing around for so long. You've been making plans and canceling them just to make people happy, just so you don't be seen as weird. We don't have time for that anymore. Your goals doesn't matter about your emotions, especially as a man. You have to get things done regardless of how you feel. It's not the same thing as the women's side. Women can feel so emotional. There's a certain support they'll get on society. But when a man cries, when a man is pain, you have to dust yourself up and keep going. That's the reality of being a man. So you don't have time to waste. You must always keep that in mind.